Hi, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're breaking down the ADI Part 3 marking sheet feedback from people who unfortunately haven't passed the ADI Part 3. Now, in pretty much all of these that we're going to show now, these are from this year, 2026. And again, the overwhelming reason for people failing is lesson planning. And the reason people do that varies, but this just shows if your lesson planning isn't correct to begin with, then the teaching and learning strategies fall apart, which then means that people pass the risk management section, but they fail because they haven't got the lesson plan right. And that's what we're going to see in this one today. Let's start it off then. A nice atmosphere created with report evidence. So they had a good two-way conversational technique with the pupil, which is good. But unfortunately, the lesson didn't meet the needs of the pupil. The level of support was not matched to the area of concern raised and demonstrated by the pupil. So if we stop there, this is relating to the level of instruction. If someone's struggling with something or not getting it, very often just prompting, asking questions isn't going to work. You can try that to begin with, but the way they learn is to be told, which is what fully guided commentary driving is. It doesn't matter if it's a full license holder. If they're bad at something or not doing something, they need help to be shown how to do it. And that's what this situation was. The trainee said, I was asking plenty of questions, but as we're going to go on to see, that wasn't the level of support that this student needed. It says, on a number of occasions, the pupil became unduly hesitant at junctions, which led to an observation fault where she emerged into the road with a car coming from the right. Shortly after, she crossed the path of a white car. If we stop there, undue hesitation at junctions, taking too long, not spotting the right gap. This is where, if we go back to the beginning bit, this was raised by the pupil. So they probably said in a remark, not too sure with gaps, not too sure when it's safe. Well, in that case, it doesn't matter what you were going to work on. This now, we're going to change the lesson and adapt it to work on picking gaps, understanding gaps, and then we're going to not be hesitant and we're going to know when it's safe to go. Because of this, as it said, on a number of occasions, the student did this, which led to an observation fault where she emerged into the road with a car coming from the right. Minimum observation at junctions, right, left, right again. So she could have looked right, left, saw the car, thought, all right, perhaps once he's gone, I can go. But what originally was a big enough gap on the right, if you're being unduly hesitant, it means you're taking way too long. So the car that was 30 seconds away is now 5 seconds away or 2 seconds away. So minimum observations at junctions for pupils, right, left, right again, then decide as a minimum. Now, you as a trainee need to be watching that the pupil's doing that, because what we don't want them to do is pull out in front of vehicles when it's not safe to. So we need to make sure of that. And then it says shortly after, cross the path of a white car. So again, perhaps turning right, major to minor, didn't judge the correct gap. Once again, it's the same fault coming up, adequate gaps. Now, interestingly, it says, although the faults were identified and some analysis discussed, so they told them, there was the car coming, then we turned right and there wasn't enough room. Some analysis discussed. What's the problem with that? Oh, it could cause an accident or cause them to slow down. Whose fault would that be? Great. Interestingly, it then says there was no coping strategy. Now, this is the DVSA buzzword that they like to use. In other words, it means there was no answer. There was no way that the pupil could cope with it on their own. How do I cope in this situation if there's loads of traffic? We need to be able to judge a suitable gap. Do you know how we do that? Do you know what I mean by a suitable gap? Do you know how we can tell what a suitable gap would be? And it says that it then continues. So there was no fix, no answer how to avoid this. This meant that the undue hesitation and judgment fault remained and is a plan set for next lesson. They kept doing it all through this lesson and then said, we'll fix it next lesson. Well, forget whatever you're going off to do, roundabouts, dual carriageways, change of speed limits, and make the whole lesson about judging suitable gap. PDI prompt was, can you go? So can you go? Yes. Well, you've got a 50-50 chance of being right, haven't you? Yes. Good choice, Chris. Why do you think that it's safe to go? I don't know. So yes, no questions are great for instant responses, but they don't tell you anything about what the pupil is thinking. So that's not enough. How do we know when it's safe to go? Find out. So the PDI prompt was, can you go? With no discussion of the walk across rule or any verbal demonstration given. If you're helping them to think, do we have a big enough gap? Think, could we walk across the road before that car got to us? If the answer is yes, we can go. But then it mentions any verbal demonstration. So again, back to fully guided commentary driving. So we're looking down the road, we can see the red car in the distance. Now we could walk across before he gets to us. But what we're going to do is wait. Then after the red car, there's another big gap that we could walk across. So we're going to go into that one. Okay, Chris, so get yourself ready, get the bite point, get the handbrake ready. As soon as this red car goes, now we can go. It could be that they don't fully get using the bite point and the gas. So into first gear, Chris, get the bite point, set the gas, get a nice loud rev, because we want to go into the gap and get up to the speed limit of the road. So if they're struggling with something, you've got to help them understand it. That's the whole point of it. When should I go? How do I tell? So we're looking, Chris, for if we can cross the road before the cars get to us. We can see these first three cars that are coming, we couldn't. But after that third car, there's a big gap that we could walk across easily. So we're going to go into that one. So let's get set up and ready to go. Then it says the lesson holistically lacked depth. Don't you love the DVSA and their buzzwords? So here, holistic just means that one thing can have an effect on another, and that will have an effect on a third, like a domino effect. Therefore, Chris, if we're judging whether we can walk across, it means we can get into gaps that are more suitable, which means we can drive in faster moving traffic and we're not so worried about finding the correct gap. One thing has an effect on another and another. Without the faults, the candidate drove well. Although the PDI did use question and answer, it was far too basic for her level of experience and ability, and as such, limited learning outcomes. Again, if the pupil has more experience, use that in the questions. Use it to find out what are they thinking, what do they know. Use that to then enhance their thinking ability, because that's the key to it. Now, Chris, as we're looking down the road, where do you think the gap comes to walk across? So what do we need to be doing now? And then what's our minimum observation? So when we've done both of those, do you think that's still our gap? Great. That's a very good choice, Chris. Let's go. So now we've gone on to prompted and we're building their confidence at the same time. If you haven't got through the ADI Part 3, this is the most important part of that report sheet that you get. And if you'd like us to analyse yours, just send it in. We'd be happy to do so. So thanks for joining us here at Driver Training. Remember, drive safely, teach well, and we'll see you all again in the next video.